Oh.
Good evening,
Hi,
everybody. Hello, nice to see you.
Hi, hello.
Welcome to our training. I'm just going to press record and we'll get started. So
Just explain to people that if they want to hide their screen, they can, or they down the bottom there, you can stop video, which means we can't see you. If you want to, we can see if you like. We've also muted you all as well. So yeah, at the bottom you can do that.
Perfect. Right. Okay. So welcome on, everybody.
Hi,
really good to see you all. We're joined by my baby, little one Ziggy. You'll see him here. He's otherwise preoccupied, multitasking, as we often do in this business.
Yeah.
Right, so let's get started. We better introduce ourselves first. So welcome this evening, everyone. My name is Emily, and this is my husband, Tim, Emily and Tim Mascarinas. We are doTERRA Blue Diamond leaders. We've been involved with doTERRA for about 2.5 years. And since we've been involved with the company, over 5,000 homes all over the world have been touched by the oils and blessed and benefited from them. We have one of the fastest growing teams in Europe, which is amazing, and we're very grateful for the tribe of women and men who have joined hands with us on this journey. We've met some amazing people on our journey as well. And also, more importantly, we are parents. So we have 3 gorgeous boys called Frankie, Mickey and Ziggy. We're very much normal people who wanted to work hard and make a success of our lives and be in control of our lives. And I'll tell you a bit more about that in a moment. So our background is in theatre. Sorry. Our background is in theatre, and this is where we actually met for the first time, and we always wanted to make a successful one. And I just have to take the little one upstairs. Bear with me. I'll let Tim take over and share the story.
Yeah, we obviously working in the theatre, we didn't have an awful lot of security, and we always looked at options and ways to have a bit more security in our lives. We started a music business for preschool children about 7 or 8 years ago. We used to teach music classes for little ones, and it was good. It was all right, but it wasn't, it wasn't life changing in the sense that we were always kind of living hand to mouth. So Emily went to an exhibition, a fair, and she came across these oils, and we started doing our business then. And she started to share the oils, and our business started to grow. And within about 6 months of the business, we realised that this was something that we could actually change our lives. And it did, and we use the oils now with our children and our families. And we're very much hooked on the business as well. So I think it's important to say that the most important thing about this whole business is the oils. They are the superstar. They are the leading force of the whole business. It's important to always remember that. These sort of talks that we're doing now, where we're actually focusing on the business, is something we would only do maybe twice a year. We don't really do this very often. We don't lead with the business or anything like that. This is quite unusual. We generally always, every day, we talk about the oils, and very, very occasionally, like a situation like this, we'll share the business. Sometimes you'll find people will use the oils and they'll come to us and ask us a bit more about the business. But this isn't something we do that often. So I'll wait for Emily to tell you about what the essential oil is. In fact, what I'll do is, while she's putting Ziggy to sleep, I'll skip these ones and I'll leave that one for a minute, and I'm going to go to how the business works. And then Emily will talk to you a little bit about the oils afterwards. We always will normally start with the oils because that's the most important thing. As she's putting Ziggy to bed, I'm going to start to talk a little bit about how the business works. So the doTERRA is a product-based business, as I've just said. Okay, So 85% of people using doTERRA are customers, okay, which is very different to other network marketing companies. And I suppose it's a good opportunity now to just mention about often the elephant in the room, which is pyramid schemes. Often when people talk about the fact they're doing a network marketing company or working for a network marketing company, people will refer and say, "Oh, that's a pyramid scheme." So let me just clear that up. In the 80s and 90s, a pyramid scheme was where people were putting money in there wasn't even a product. We're putting money into a scheme, and at the bottom of a pyramid, and it was being collected off the top of the pyramid. And as it got collected at the top, you would raise up the pyramid, and eventually you would get to the top, and you'd get the pot of the money. But of course, the bottom fell out, and everybody lost their money. This is illegal. This was made illegal, and there's no such thing as pyramid schemes anymore. So just so you're aware of that. So and also, there are good and bad network marketing companies. We try not to speak about other companies, but you can find good and bad companies in all areas. But we do not promote the oils with the business. We normally just promote the oils for the oils, because that's the leading driving force of our business. So customers, I'm just starting with the business first.
Sorry.
Right. That's right. So customers, they order online, and their products delivered directly to them. So there's no delivering oils or knocking on people's doors or anything like that. They have their own. They have their own ID number, and that ID number is connected to you. So anyone introduced to the oils will be connected to you. You will earn commission from them, and you will also earn commission from anyone that they may introduce you to as well. So this is how how the structure works. So Emily will talk a little bit about the oils in a minute, but what you find with these oils, they're so versatile and they're used for so many different things that they actually become a way of life. People will order them a lot and use them a lot. And if someone said the other day, if you introduce the oils to a couple and they love the benefits of them, and they start to share them with their children, use them with their children and their families, their parents, their siblings, suddenly you've got a whole network of people using their oils, and all of those people will be connected to you who initially introduced them to the oils in the first place.
So shall I talk about the oils at this stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back?
Let's go back a bit and I'll talk about the oils. So here we go. Okay, so let's talk about the oils, because these are the star of the show, really, aren't
Absolutely.
they? So it all starts with these little bottles of plant-based power. Now, these oils are very different to other essential oils, and the way that we teach in doTERRA is we really focus on education and on empowering and educating other people to make better choices in their lives and to use more natural solutions. So these essential oils are natural aromatic compounds found in plants. They're 100% pure. There's nothing added in and there's nothing taken away. And as soon as I started learning about the oils and about natural alternatives, I was blown away by the results that we were having with these oils in comparison to other essential oils. And that is due to the quality. And there's a big difference in quality of essential oil on the market. So these essential oils, and we have a huge range of different 100% pure essential oils. They're pure and they're potent, but also they work. And that is because science is truly leading the way. doTERRA is a science-based company. Sadly, it is for any skeptics out there. These oils, there's so much science and evidence-based research about the way that essential oils work. And we've got a whole team of scientific experts at the core of doTERRA, doctors, scientists, pharmacologists, chemists, and there is so much continual education happening. It's really, truly exciting, but it's nothing new. Plants have been used as medicine since the beginning of time. We've just lost track a little bit along the way with the introduction of the pharmaceuticals. But what I love about doTERRA is we're not saying it has to be one way or the other way. What we're seeing is a merge of traditional medicine with modern medicine, okay? And I have, many more medical people on our team as well, don't we? And they will always say that actually many forms of standard allopathic medicine starts with plants, but what we see with essential oils is you don't have the unwanted side effects and the addictive qualities. And they really work. And the basis of this is because essential oils have very, very fine compounds and structures. They are able, because they are fat-based, to penetrate cells, and they can attack viruses that live within cells, unlike standard Western med, which tends to be water-based. So Western medication can kill bacteria because that tends to float around the body in the blood system, but viruses live within cells, okay? And so what we see with essential oils, and so much research behind the essential oils now, is a very, very exciting form of natural medicine. But as I said, this is nothing new. Essential oils have been used since the beginning of time. There's hundreds of references to essential oils in the Bible alone, okay? But it's very exciting because now people they're waking up, they're making choices. They don't want to be continually using antibiotics or harmful chemicals on their body or in their bodies. We're seeing a rise of certain diseases, and people are making more natural choices. And this is why they're choosing nature. So all of our oils are what's called CPTG tested. It stands for Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. And this equates to the purity testing, which is very, very rigorous with doTERRA. We do more testing than any other company to guarantee that there's nothing else added into that bottle. What tends to happen with other companies to save costs they are diluting the oils, they're adding cheaper oils, adulterations, synthetics, pesticides, chemicals get into the oil. This is not good because of that tiny complex structure, because these essential oils do have the ability to penetrate the cell membrane. We don't want chemicals or pesticides going into our cells or into that of our children, of our family, of our loved ones. So you really do need to be concentrating on using a pure oil, and there is no government standard across the board which guarantees this for you. Apart from with doTERRA, you do have that brand standard because every single bottle has that CPTG testing stamp, and that's our own testing, which equates to quality. So you have the purity that you can trust, that is safe and beneficial. And I love referring people to this website here, which is called Source to You, which talks about the levels that doTERRA go to ensure purity. With state-of-the-art equipment, they are choosing the best of everything to create a quality 100% pure oil. But the other thing that they're taking into consideration is the sourcing, okay? So, of course, the chemistry of a plant that grows in its natural habitat, where that plant is happy and healthy, is going to be very different from that of a plant that's grown on your windowsill or in a greenhouse. Now, many other companies have to do this to save money, but this is why when you take the lids off the bottles with the doTERRA oils, you can smell that they are alive and potent and vibrant. It sounds silly, but the first time I took the lids off the bottles, when I smelt them, it was like they spoke to me. I just knew there was a difference. Our oils are sourced from all over the world, where the plant is chosen, where the soil is chosen, the time of day that they harvest is chosen, the way that they distill or cold press is very, very thoroughly decided and thought about, okay? We're even going, touching on biodynamic farming in some of the areas. doTERRA take everything into consideration, so they get the quality and the therapeutic grade oil that they want to provide the benefits for people. And so this is why they work. And the great thing about our oils is they're so easy to use. If you can read the A to Z, you can use the oils. Anybody can share them as long as you have a book, you have all the resources and tools that you need from doTERRA. And that's what makes it very exciting. The other thing that I really like to focus in a lot on, which means a lot to myself and to Tim, is the doTERRA Healing Hands Foundation. Now, this is about the ethics of the company, okay? So doTERRA's mission was to help to raise third world developing countries. So this sourcing model that they choose, where they're sourcing oils from all over the world, is very, very clever, because we are then working with communities. We source from over 45 different countries worldwide, and over 26 of these are considered to be developing countries. So now we're working with communities that need the ability to work.
At the moment, doTERRA actually employ 30,000 employees in developing countries around the world. 30,000 people.
Which is incredible.
So that's 30,000 people, and that doesn't include how that benefits their partners, their families. I mean, the impact that's going to be huge.
Yeah. So
and they when they buy the land in these areas for them to grow, they give it back to them. They sell it back to them, and then they start building hospitals and schools on top of all of that. So a little bottle of oil is going on a huge journey and going almost back to help these people, and they've got a livelihood and a living.
Yeah, some of these people, they just want the ability to be able to provide for their families, and to have reliable sources of income. And where we're sourcing frankincense in Oman and Somalia, doTERRA are able to pay the people 10 times more than they were able to earn before, because we're cutting out the middlemen. We're really focusing in on the growers and the harvesters and the true artisans of the oils, and giving back to them. This picture top left is a picture of Tim in Uganda just 3 weeks ago, and you went over there to rebuild a shelter for people with polio and leprosy. How wonderful for us, two normal people that wanted to do good in the world, but I never thought we'd be able to make a difference like this.
No, I didn't know that we were going to end up doing stuff like this.
No, we raised $10,000 with ourselves, with other wellness advocates in doTERRA, and then doTERRA matched it. So we had $20,000 to build a new shelter. We took $2,000 worth of oils over to these poor people to leave with them, to teach the nurses how to use them. And this is just one project of many all over the world.
Yeah, these aren't, I think obviously we're talking about the business here and trying to explain to you how the ethics of the company. But these, it's really important. These are not just token gestures that they're making and doing a little bit here, a little bit there. They're literally doing it all over the world and helping people all over the world. And actually, we just got back from a convention, the European convention, which was in London, which had 5,000 people attending. And most of what they talked about, they didn't show off with their wealth.
It wasn't about flashy cars
or anything like that. Nobody. There was none of that. It was mainly about what they were doing around the world to help these people. Honestly, it was all about that. So this isn't just something just adding as a caveat, this is a nice business. This is generally what's happening around the world.
So now when I look at this bottle of oil, I don't just think about the way that it's touched my life and my children and my family, or even the people that I shared the oils with in our local community. I think about the people all over the world that benefit from us sharing the oils. And that is what makes this not feel like sales. The oils sell themselves. They're wonderful. They're beautiful. They help people and they work. But to be part of something that's so fulfilling and satisfying and helps you to be part, it's almost like doTERRA is more of a cause than a company. It's about love and honor and hard work and respect all around. And I'm very passionate about that side of things as well.
As they are.
As they are. It starts with the founders. Okay, so you've done that one, haven't you?
Yeah, so let me just check. Yes, okay, so one thing that's most important factor, so we'll go back to the actual, the business side of it now, because as well as all the good work it does around the world, it's also an extremely brilliant business. And this is why, because the retention rate with doTERRA is 64%. Okay, so to go into a bit more detail about this, the average retention rate for a similar company, a network marketing company, is about 13%. So 65% or 64% of doTERRA customers order again within their first 3 months. Okay, and 80% of doTERRA customers will order at least once in a year. Okay, listen to this one. 70% of all the customers ever, so in the 10 years that doTERRA's been going, which is about 6.2 million customers, ordered in the last 3 months. Okay, so when you think about growing your business and you think about the average retention rate for a company being 13%, think about how hard you've got to work to constantly be finding people to share these oils with. Whereas if your retention rate is 64%, think about how that just gives you that great residual income, money you can earn once they're set up and they're going and they're using their oils for the rest of your life without having to worry about it. This is how you start to build your structure. Okay, this is so much more useful to you than a company where the retention rate is so much lower. And what's also,
I was just going to say, it just shows that people love the oils. Well, they love them. They want to use them.
This is the other thing, that, do they work? Well, they wouldn't have this retention rate if they didn't work. People wouldn't trust them and buy them again. We'd all buy something once, won't we, and see what it's like. Everyone will do that. Everyone will be bought into something. We always, you go on the shopping channel. I buy everything from the shopping channel once. The way they go on about everything. Are they going to keep? Are they going to keep buying it? And are they going to keep buying it? Yes, they do. And this is what's so important.
And what I also find is that it's a natural human instinct when you find something that works for you, that you can't help but share that with other people. And the great thing is that unfortunately most people do have something going on, whether it's physical or emotional. Everybody needs the oils, from newborn babies right through to the elderly. Even pets, yes. You can use them to clean your kitchen with, you can use them to cook with,
you can garden with them. Yeah. I mean, it's just that there isn't anyone that, so once you start to gain the trust with the oils and that you have a positive effect, you start to look at all the other oils that you can use, and suddenly it branches out and they become part of your monthly shop, basically.
It's lifestyle.
This is also very important. doTERRA is a debt-free company with no outside funding. So these guys that started this company, they remortgaged their homes, they sold their possessions, and they started the company without borrowing any money whatsoever. And the reason why this is so important is because that means the company is protected. Okay, they don't owe any money to anybody. Okay, this is hugely important. Okay, a little bit about the compensation plan. I'll just really briefly talk about this, but there's lots of different ways you can earn money with doTERRA. But this is one thing doTERRA do, is they are very generous with their compensation plan. Here's an example of it. So with commissions, so when people spend money, commissions that you earn, with a normal network marketing company, they normally give you a higher percent at the top of where your organization is, and a lower percentage further down, which is where most of your customers are. So if you look on the right here, I know it's in dollars, but what you would do is you would have, normally they'd give you, say, maybe 7% of commission on top, which is where most, and it would go, so the time you get down to the bottom, that's what you're earning. doTERRA have flipped this in half, flipped it upside down, and they give more percentage, a higher percentage of commission lower down the levels, which is where most of your customers are. I mean, we're talking, we've got, in our first 3 levels, we've probably got about 100 people. From our 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th level, we've probably got 4,500, where we're earning 6-7%. On another model, which is what you normally get, you'd be earning 2%. The difference, as you can see just by that, is almost 3 times as much. So just a quick example of the compensation plan and how good it is. Okay, so here's a little bit about doTERRA's growth as a company. Okay, so because I don't sometimes think that people, I certainly didn't realize what size of company doTERRA was in the world. And here's a few things that will just help you try to understand that. So it's gone from 0 to 2 billion per annum in the last 9 years as a company. Okay, well, we're on to its 10th year now, but that was after 9 years. Okay, it's the biggest essential oil company in the world. Okay, in 2017, Europe was doTERRA's fastest growing region. For the first time, Europe was growing faster than any other region, okay, in the world. And it's got more customers. This is amazing. More customers joined in March 2018 than in all of 2014 and 2013 combined.
That's crazy.
Okay, this is just an example of the growth of where doTERRA's going.
Am I right in saying, I think that it's been comparable, the growth of doTERRA is comparable to the beginning 10 years of the growth of Apple and Facebook?
Yeah, yes, yes, it is. At the same stage, it is, yes. And the UK, which is quite important to us, has the most sales in Europe. So not only is it the fastest growing region in Europe, the UK has the most sales in Europe.
But we're just at the tip, aren't we?
Well, this is it. Because doTERRA has been going a little bit longer in other parts of the world. It's only been going in Europe for 6 years. And maybe in the UK, maybe slightly less than that, really, when you think about
probably 4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years. So they can see the trends from other regions, like in America, because they're 10 years in, they can see where they are with it. And they predict that there's an awful long way to go of growth in Europe and in the UK before it gets to it till it levels out. And even leveling out will still be good growth. So there's an awful long way for it to go. So it's a good time to be on the journey, I think.
It's a really good time to start because there's brand awareness now. More people have heard of doTERRA. More people are going to be open to trying the oils. More people are looking for natural solutions and aware that they need to be avoiding chemicals more frequently in their lives, but it's still very new.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like forecast triple in 2018. Just a little example. So when we started 2.5 years ago, our ID number was 2.2 million. Because your number that you get is the number of customer that you are from when doTERRA started, and we were 2.2 million. We're now on 6.2 million 2.5 years later. So it's, that's the growth in just the 2.5 years that we've been involved with the company. Okay, so therefore they've opened warehouses in Heathrow, Netherlands. They've got brand new offices in Milton Keynes. Like I say, brand awareness is now starting to come out in the UK as well, so people are starting to be aware of essential oils. And I think this is a really important figure here, that the actual essential oil and aromatherapy market worldwide is worth $5.1 billion. Okay, doTERRA is the market leader with 23% of that whole market.
So that's virtually a quarter.
Yeah.
If you like figures, you will like all of this information. You like the figures, don't you?
Well,
I like the oils.
Just gives you an idea of where this company is going and where it's come from.
It's important.
And there's a little example of the growth. I put that chart on from 2015 to 2017. In dollars.
So when I first saw this chart, the figures at the bottom sort of blew my mind. When I started doTERRA, I was a very busy person. We were running our classes for babies and children, our music classes. We had 2 children and another baby, Ziggy, was just on the way, and a dog. Tim was working in the theatre every evening and had 2 shows at weekends, 2 shows on Thursdays. We really had no time in our lives. But something, as I said before, something really drew me to the oils and to the company. And to be fair, we could do with a little, at the time, we could have done with a little bit of extra help. We live in quite an expensive area in London. We had quite a high mortgage. So I thought, well, ignoring the figures at the bottom, it might be quite nice to reach Premier, for example, which was £200 to £500 extra a month. Well, that would be lovely. And as you can see, this timeline on the right is the average time to get to that rank. Now, I actually found myself at the rank of Premier in 3 months. So actually, it did move very quickly for us. And now, 2.5 years later, we find ourselves down the bottom here at Blue Diamond. As I said, when I first saw these figures, £24,000 a month. Presidential diamond starts at £20,000 a month. That blew my mind. If I'm honest, I didn't really believe it. I thought there must be a bit of a scam or something going on. But I can tell you honestly now that these figures are very accurate and actually quite cautious. And this has, as you can imagine, totally changed our lives. And we're very, very passionate about doing the same for other people. And we're seeing it now in our team, which is so exciting. And so we reached Blue Diamond, I was just going to say, in 2 years. The average time to reach that is 34 months. We did move quite quickly. But the beautiful thing about doTERRA is you can do it whatever speed you like. If you're consistent with it and you do it, it will happen. Just keep going.
Yeah, I'm just going to say there's in the world, like in America, there's hundreds and hundreds of diamonds and hundreds of blue diamonds and loads of presidential diamonds. But we're still relatively new in Europe. I mean, like I say, like 6 years solidly, but in the UK, maybe 4 or 5 years. So there aren't as many. But, if you're thinking, is it just like maybe that's just lucky for you and not for other people. There's an awful lot of diamonds now in Europe. There's maybe like 30 or 40, and every month there's new ones coming on. There's a lot of platinums. I mean, we was at a convention, there was hundreds of golds, and all these people will be a level beyond that the next year and the year after that. So, it's really achievable for lots and lots of people. It's not just the odd person that gets there. lots of people are getting to these ranks now
and changing their lives because of it, and changing
and
the lives of others.
And just to point out, everyone that gets these ranks is very different. They're not all there. We're all from different backgrounds, we're different sorts of people. We just have a passion for the oils and a passion for the business.
So how do you actually what do you do to get started? Do you want to do this?
Yeah, just the initial investment. I just mentioned quickly earlier that we used to run a music business. We bought a franchise, and that cost us about £11,000 back then. To start that business. Obviously you get all the kit and you get all the help and the classes and all the information, the training that you need. You get all of that with doTERRA too. We provide all the training that you need, and there's lots of help and support. This is actually the initial investment that you have to make, which is a home essentials kit, which is the 10 basic oils, which are enough to get you going, to get you sharing. I mean, each bottle is 214 millilitres, which is, it's 50 millilitres, which is 240 drops. And this is good for you to share. A fractionated coconut as well, which helps you to mix oils down if you want to blend them. And also a book to help you to look up the oils, to research the oils when people need help with certain ailments, and then some sample bottles for you to sample the oils in, to send them out to people. Because what we tend to do is, the way we share the oils is we sample people, we find out what they need. Maybe they need some help with sleep, and we will say, okay, well, I'm going to give you a little sample bottle of some lavender, put it on the bottom of your feet before you go to bed, and maybe put a little drop on your pillow, and see how you get on with it. And, very often they come back and say, wow, I had a really, really good night's sleep. And you say, okay, well, look, I've got a class coming up in a couple of weeks where I'm going to educate about the oils if you want to come along, and I'll talk a bit more about some other oils. And they come and they're very interested. That's how we kind of share the business. And
you get support with every step of this journey. So, we're going to support and guide you and help you on this journey as well. So it's very, very easy to share the oils with others. And it's lovely work as well, because you're actually giving them something that can truly benefit them for their physical health, for their emotional health, and those that join hands with you, financial health as well. But really, what a low initial investment for a business that can earn you the figures that you've just seen.
And because obviously you're sharing the oils, and there are lots of oils to get, there is a monthly spend. Okay, this is everything's done in PV, in product volume, which is kind of equates to dollars, really. So it's about £80 to £90. And this spend is how you get paid commissions and things like that. Without that spend every month, the system, the computer doesn't recognise that you're doing the business. But you do need to do this spend anyway, because you need lots of oils to share as well. So it's kind of like it's not a big outlay really when you think about how much it is to start other businesses. And actually, if you're regularly doing classes, maybe 2 classes a month, that's paid for anyway.
And they're oils for yourself, but also they're your business tools. So you are sharing them with other people. Once people try the oils, they usually fall in love with them and often want to come to a class. Once they come to a class and learn about the oils, and they fall in love even more. And then they're
once you realise how to really use the oils to as much as you can, to really utilise the different oils that you can get, actually, that money that you spend on the oils actually saves, or all the products actually saves you money on other things that you might buy in the month. You don't think about it as being an extra spend. Actually, it can replace other things that you use: cleaning products, shampoos, face washes. It can, things that you use. So it actually doesn't become extra. It becomes just part of your monthly spend anyway.
And you're upgrading the products in your home and in your life.
Absolutely.
Here are some testimonials from our tribe. We've got quite a few, so I'll just read a couple. But this is our team, our amazing team. We've got such a beautiful connection. We had a party at our convention a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. We got everybody together, and it's wonderful to be part of the community that we're growing and feel the energy. And
I don't know whether we spoke about, or you're going to speak about, the support.
Yeah. What we give is so much support, and we get so much support from doTERRA, from corporate and from the founders, but people love being part of our community as well.
We didn't explain that, when people join our team, they're part of a group, like a Facebook group, and on that group are all of our leaders, and they consist of all sorts of different skills. We have
we've got more medical people, scientists, we've got doctors, sort of nurses, pharmacologists. And then we've got more natural people. So we've got energy healers, yoga teachers, crystal healers, Reiki masters, Reiki masters, homeopaths. And then we've got people very much like us who are kind of just average parents. So,
what it's good for, when you ask a question on there is somebody with the right answer for you to help you.
Yeah.
So you get all that support as well.
So anybody can do doTERRA, but I'll just read a couple of these. So Georgie said, for me, it was company ethics and having the internal use completely down as safe. So I could confidently suggest internal use for others. I think that was the only thing that initially made me research more. I'm most impressed by the family feel of the doTERRA teamwork and amazing upline. Really do feel like I found kindred spirits. Yes, it does feel like that. And the thing that Georgie mentioned there is the fact that because our oils are so pure, they can be taken internally. And this is the big difference, you see, because most essential oils that you can buy from the shops, you can't do that with. And that's because there's no importance placed on purity. So it would be unsafe to use the oils that way. But in fact, it would be unsafe to use an impure oil on your skin or aromatically as well. So really, this just testifies the fact that our oils are of the topmost quality that you can trust. Karina said, I decided that before my first oils order arrived that I wanted to do the business because they were nothing like I'd tried before from the high street, and the business option was simple. I wanted to cover the cost of my own purchases, which I did within 2 months. Yeah, I mean, some people do the business just to cover the cost of having the oils in their lives. Some people do the business to supplement their income by an extra £200 to £500. Some people do it and it ends up totally replacing their income and much more, which is what's happened with us. So there's something for everybody. Katie Jo said, as a nutritionist, I've been using essential oils for years in my practice with another company. Unfortunately, my trust was broken recently and I had to take a decision to lose some business and change brand. I'm so pleased I did. Although I have to build a completely new downline, the doTERRA product support has been so brilliant that I wish I'd done this years ago. Moira talks about the purity of the oils, and she wanted to use them in her everyday life for health and well-being herself and for her clients. Charlie said, the power of the oils, the desire to share them with others, and the peace of mind, building an additional income stream on my terms. I love being a photographer, but if I break my arm, then what? Preparing for the impact in a positive way.
I think that's important. You can do doTERRA alongside, like we've explained, like what we did. You can do it alongside other businesses, and you can still grow your business quite successfully.
Yes. Look, at the end, Laura says, with doTERRA, this opportunity allows us to embrace this time, and I feel so grateful to be able to help empower other women this way. It's wonderful to be able to do that and call that work, to be empowering other people to live better, healthier, happier lives. Okay, so I'm just going to finish by telling you a quick story, and it's called Buckets versus Pipelines, and it's about a man that lived in a village, and this village had no running water, but this man, he had a bucket. So every day he would hike through the fields, up the foothills to the source of the spring on the mountain. He would fill up his bucket and he would hike back down and sell his bucket of water to make some fast cash. And he made a fairly good income from this. It was hard work, but it was enough to support his family for their everyday needs. However, there was another man who lived in the village, and he saw what the first man was doing, and he also had a bucket. So he decided to do something a bit differently. He wanted something that was more sustainable and longer lasting. So he also started to hike up the foothills to the source of the water, but he took his time doing it. And as he was doing it, he was digging a trench. And of course, the villagers were saying, what's that guy doing? He's crazy. Why doesn't he just get on with it and go to the water, fill his bucket up and sell it and make the money? But he had a plan, because eventually what he was able to do when he put in the hard work and the love and the time, and he overcame the obstacles on the way, such as the stones and the hard ground, eventually he dug a trench all the way up to the source of the spring, and he laid a pipe, and that pipe led all the way back down to the village to a tap. And eventually he was able to turn on that tap, and a source of cool, fresh, crisp, not everlasting running water was provided for that village. And of course, then he became a very, very rich man and was not able to just provide for his family that day or that week, he was able to provide for them for the rest of his life, and probably much longer as well. And that's what it's about with doTERRA. It's about that residual income. The problem we're seeing these days is too many people caught up in work, on the grind, on the treadmill, working really, really hard just to pay the bills, and not having much left in reserve to do the things and create the life that they choose. And we were those people, because we always followed our hearts and followed our passions. We were acting and doing the job that we loved, but it didn't give us hardly any finances to have much more. So we wanted that for our family. We wanted to have time freedom to be together. Every night Tim was going into work, to the theatre, I was on my own. And eventually, I hope you don't mind me sharing this story, but 2 years ago, the job that Tim was working on, he'd been there, had been a very loyal, hardworking company member. They decided to freshen things up in the show, and they let him go. And we didn't know what to do. I'd not long started doTERRA, so it wasn't earning us enough to replace our income from there. And our Caterpillar music industry wasn't doing that well either, certainly not enough to cover the costs of our mortgages and our lifestyle. And we were scared, and we were also deflated, because we've given our lives to something, and what did we have? We had no stability at all. So we said to ourselves, let's do this. Let's take back the reins and the control of our lives, and get ourselves into a position where we are in control. And what do we need to be at in doTERRA for that to happen? And we said, right, we'll make this work. So Tim actually went back to work in the company. He went back to the company and said, look, I know there's a lower down position. I'm prepared to take that role if you'll have me. And they made you audition again, didn't they? It wasn't an easy process. Bit of a knock to your man pride, but it says a lot about you. And eventually they said, yes, you can do it. And so then you had to sit in a dressing room with the man that took his role, and do a job that you weren't particularly inspired to do. But we worked really hard that year. And so the following year, when the show actually said, we'd like you to stay this year, we were able to find ourselves in a position where we didn't need to say yes. And then Tim handed in his notice, and last September he was able to leave the show, and now we are doing this together. Yeah. And we have control of our lives. The thing that's amazing is we have more time with our beautiful boys to do the things that we want. Last week we spent a week in East Wittering. We were able to work from there. We're going to France for a month in the summer, because we can work wherever we want to. We are the masters of our own destiny, and we have the financial security to do it as well. And this is why we are so passionate now about helping the people that have joined hands with us, that join us on this journey, to do the same. Okay, so I just wanted to finish this by just reading you something from a book that I've been reading recently, and it really landed for me. So 10 years will come no matter what. In fact, it's coming sooner than you think. When it arrives, you'll look back and think, wow, the time literally flew. It's very important to be in the consciousness of the future now. You're taking responsibility for the future outcomes of your life. Walt Disney said it best: if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And this company has limitless opportunities. Okay, so if you're interested, go back to the person that's invited you on this evening. We're starting a new builder training program in the next few weeks with the person that's invited you. They'll be able to guide you and take you through the first steps. You can start, and if it's not for you, you can always stop. You can speed it up, you can slow it down. But if you don't give these things in life a try, if they're calling out to you and something intentional has led you to this place this evening, if you don't try it, you'll never know what might be. So yeah, that's it from us tonight. We really hope that you've enjoyed what we've shared. Should you have any questions, go back to the person that's led you here tonight, and hopefully we'll see you again. Shall we stop the share and say good evening?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe anyone's got any questions they want to ask.